If only the election wasn't held in the height of midsummer Blossius. It's a tactical strike by the Senate. My strongest supporters, the farmers, are miles away harvesting the very grain that feeds this city. They won't leave the fields for a ballot. Do you think we've reached enough of them?
It is no accident of the calendar, Tiberius. The ruling families have always arranged the seasons to favor the sedentary and disadvantage the laborer. They want a republic of the elite. But remember, if the cause is just and the candidate is steadfast, the will of the people cannot be thwarted by a harvest.
Stand still, Tiberius. Let me look at you.
Tiberius strikes an exaggerated pose.
How splendid you look. You carry the folds of that toga exactly as your father did. Both he and your grandfather, Africanus, would be proud today. I only wish your brother Gaius were here to see this, instead of scouring the dust of the countryside for votes.
Cornelia was bursting with pride at the accomplishments of her young son. She wondered if Gaius would follow in his older brother's footsteps.
Come along then. The augur is waiting in the garden. And stop rolling your eyes, Blossius. I know your Greek heart scorns our superstitions, but this ritual is the bedrock of our house. Your father never stepped before the voters without consulting the gods, Tiberius, and neither shall you.
The augur circles the wooden cage 3 times, his staff tracing lines in the dirt. He invokes the ancestors of the house of Gracchus. He scatters the sacred grain, to the right for favor, to the left for ruin. With a sharp click, he opens the hatch. The chickens refuse the light. They huddle in the back of the cage, bumping against one another. The augur stamps his foot. He makes shooing motions, his breath hitching. Finally, he grips the cage and gives it a violent shake. One bird finally stumbles out. It ignores the grain entirely. It lifts its left wing, shudders, and scurries back into the darkness of the cage.
The auspices are inconclusive, my lord.
The left wing.
The science of augury is not as exact as we might wish, Mother. A veil lies across the future, but the sun is rising regardless. The future arrives whether the birds approve or not.
Mother and son share a final, silent look. The air in the vestibule is cool, but the heavy scent of old wax and ancestral dust is stifling. Tiberius pauses before the wax mask of his grandfather, Scipio Africanus. He reaches out, his fingers tracing the cold, stern brow of the man who broke Carthage. With a sharp nod to the slave at the door, the heavy oak bolts are thrown back. The street is a sea of bodies. Some have slept in the dirt for 3 days to guard his door. Others are scarred from the midnight scuffles that have turned Rome into a tinderbox. Rumors of a senatorial hit squad hang in the air, like smoke. Tiberius steps forward, a broad, practiced smile fixed on his face. He hits the stone threshold wrong. His left foot catches, his full weight slamming his toe into the jagged paving. He staggers, his vision swimming as blood begins to soak through the fine leather of his sandal. He reaches out blindly, his fingers digging into Blossius's arm.
Tiberius, you've hurt yourself. Did they see?
The crowd, they're too loud. No one noticed. Keep me upright, Blossius.
Can you walk?
If I lean on you, just get me to the front. These men have waited all night. They need to hear the lion roar, not see the cripple limp. Loyal supporters, friends, Romans, the long night has passed, and despite every shadow and every threat, we are all still alive. You watched over me while the city slept. For that, you have my life. In return, I give you my promise. This second year of my tribunate will be for you. We will restore the lands that were stolen. We will break the grip of the land grabbers and their gangs. We will make the Rome of your children a place of dignity, not a city of beggars. But to do this, I must survive. The threat is real. My enemies do not want a vote. They want a sacrifice, I carry no steel. I am a private citizen. I have only you. You must be my armor. Without your protection, I am defenseless.
We'll defend you. We'll die for you, Tiberius.
I pray to Jupiter it never comes to blood. But if the din grows too loud and I cannot cry out, watch for this signal.
He raises both arms high, then bends his elbows, pointing both hands directly at his own head. The gesture is clear. Rally to the head.
Perhaps it's a good thing I stumbled. The bad omen is behind me now. Blossius, let's get to the Capitoline.
Tiberius begins the long climb. As he descends the Palatine, the retinue of the dispossessed swells around him, thousands of voices chanting a single name. In the forum, the crowd parts like a tide. Tiberius stops at the statue of Scipio Africanus, gazing up at the stone face of the grandfather who conquered Hannibal.
My grandfather faced the elephants of Carthage and the spears of Spain. And here I am, letting a stubbed toe give me pause. No more. No more limping, Blossius. From here, I walk like a Roman.
Above them, on a terracotta roof, two ravens tear at each other. In their fury, they dislodge a heavy tile. It plummets, shattering against the cobbles inches from Tiberius's blood-soaked shoe.
The chickens, the stumble, and now this. The gods are shouting at me, Blossius.
Ravens squabble, Tiberius. That is their nature. If you start seeing the hand of fate in every loose bit of clay, you aren't a leader. You're a tyrant who thinks the universe revolves around his head. Straighten your toga. Walk.
The space before the Temple of Jupiter is a battlefield before the first blow. Polling officials brandish spear shafts just to hold back the press of the tribes. Fistfights break out in the tight corners of the shrines. Fulvius Flaccus breaks through the line, his face pale with sweat. Tiberius, the Senate is in a frenzy. Scaevola refused to stop the vote, but Nasica, your cousin, has gone mad. He's gathered a mob of senators and cutthroats. They've wrapped their togas over their heads like priests at a sacrifice. They aren't coming to arrest you, Tiberius. They're coming to kill you.
The signal. Give the signal now.
Tiberius points to his head. A plea for protection. But in the roar of the forum, the truth is lost.
Look, he points to his head. He's demanding a crown. The tyrant wants a diadem.
His supporters break the polling shafts into cudgels, preparing for a defense. But it is too late. Nasica and his party arrive.
Inside the temple, run, Tiberius. Claim the protection of Jupiter.
The mob descends. They don't use swords. That would be a soldier's death. They use the legs of broken benches and the shards of polling booths. They tear the toga from Tiberius's back, stripping him of his office and his dignity.
Jupiter, protector of my fathers, witness this.
The first blow sends him reeling. The second, swung with the full weight of senatorial fury, shatters his skull. The most beloved man in Rome collapses onto the cold marble of the temple steps. There is no grand speech, no final defiant words for the history books. There is only the silence of the Capitoline and the blood of a Gracchus pooling in the cracks of the marble. For 400 years, 4 centuries of war, famine, and invasion, the Roman Republic had endured. It was a system built on a sacred, unspoken pact that no matter how bitter the politics, a Roman does not spill the blood of a fellow citizen. That pact died in the year 133. Tiberius Gracchus believed he was saving the Republic. He saw a Rome choked by greed, its veteran farmers replaced by slave gangs, its strength withered. He reached for the law to restore the people's dignity. But to the Roman elite, he wasn't a savior. He was a contagion. To the men who wrapped their togas like priests to butcher him, Tiberius was a would-be king who had dared to touch their wealth and their pride. This was the first great political assassination in the history of the Republic. It would not be the last. As the senators gathered the broken body of the tribune and prepared to cast it into the Tiber like common refuse, they didn't realize they had just taught the next generation a terrifying lesson. The men who raised the clubs did not know it, but Rome had crossed a line from which there would be no return.